What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What Are We Missing? It's your boy Wes, with my boy Josh. We are the chosen ones, and we have a special guest from Alabama A&M, Grand Rapids' very own Emmanuel Tommy. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? What's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Good, man. I'm good over here.
Yeah, bro. Cannot complain at all. Looking forward to Christmas break, so I know I'll be chilling with the fam, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's always good. Always good.
Yeah. So I know Christmas is different for college basketball teams and coaches. What's it look like for y'all this year?
We'll be at Georgia Tech, play them on the 23rd. So we'll be there 22nd, 23rd. Then we'll get the guys off 24th to the 27th. And then we play Lipscomb on the 30th. So it's go. You know, Christmas break ain't really Christmas break.
Right. For sure.
Like, I don't get no break for real.
Yeah. It's a year round. No chance. Not if you working.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember our last year playing at Grand Valley. I don't know if the Division II or the GLIAC made the rule of like you got to have like a week off during the Christmas break. And I thought it was the best thing in the world until that first day of practice back, dog.
Oh, man, that was bad.
Yeah. Because I told myself, I'm going to stay in the gym. I'm gonna hit the treadmill. I'm going to try to keep my win, but nah.
It ain't the same. It's not the same.
It's not. So, cool, man. Well, before we get started in the questions, we love to kind of warm our guests up with a couple icebreaker questions. You want to hit that first one, Josh?
Yeah. All right. So, who's your favorite player to watch right now? And it can be any level.
Honestly, I'm just a basketball junkie. So to me, it don't really matter who, what, when, where, how. As long as I'm watching basketball, you know what I'm saying?
You're good.
Like I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you love watching the LeBrons because he's 37 years old and he still got all that power and still moves like crazy. You like watching Steph because he's doing special things. But, you know, the level I'm at, you know, being in the SWAC, I've got to watch SWAC teams and high major teams. So I get a little bit of everything, you know, and to be honest, as much basketball as I do watch, it's more focused on, you know, scouting, you know. The first full game that I actually got to watch college basketball wire to wire was that Duke Gonzaga game. That's the first game I got to watch. And, hey, I'm glad I watched it. That was a good one.
It was a good game.
Yeah,
it was a good game.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Banchero's nice, man. Banchero, he gives me the same vibe.
He's straight too.
Oh yeah, Chet's nice. Chet's real nice. He's thin, but he's nice. Boys play.
I always get worried, man. I'm like, this dude's gonna break his leg one day. Like, I just feel like he's so skinny, but he is nice.
Yeah,
he's nice. I like Banchero though, man. I like the fact that, you know, being 6'10", he can get that ball off the rim and he can start your break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if I ever get a team one day that's my own, like that's how I'm recruiting. Want big guys who can start things fast. You know what I mean? He gives me the same feels that Suggs kind of gave me last year for Gonzaga. Yeah. You know, if things go their way, I think they can make a deep run because, you know, he that good. Dude's a stud.
Yeah, man.
You can go.
For sure. All right, man. Are you a movie watcher?
I am when you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I don't got much time for anything anymore.
Yeah,
that's basketball and my team. So
right.
Other than that, but you know, the movie, my all-time favorite right now, that's been probably for many years, Glory Road. You know, Glory Road is big time to me, man. I just like the story, you know, the line of the story, the feel, and then, you know, you get to the end of it, and then, you know, you do the impossible, you know, you want to live it one day.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Dog, my favorite part, obviously, was in the national championship game where they kind of blew the game open. Bobby Joe saved the ball out of bounds and he threw it behind the back.
Yes.
He landed on Kentucky's coach and they took that picture.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. The flag,
my man dunked it and like posed for the camera. Dog, goosebumps
Third
every
down.
time, bro.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like that movie, because you get goosebumps from it. Hey, all day.
That's funny.
Crazy. So yeah, bro, man, you have so far just a great coaching career. Being at some dope schools. So we would love to talk to you just about the journey that you've been on so far, from Godwin to Western, to now. So talk to us about your coaching journey, starting with Godwin, and what were some of the important things that you've kind of learned at each stop?
Obviously when we were at Godwin, when I was at Godwin, we had a whole lot of success. Obviously, you guys know from being from that area.
Yeah.
We were kind of the west side of the state, for 6 years I was there. And, the biggest thing with those guys, they love basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it was easy for those guys to be in the gym, to work, to get better, And for me, I loved it so much because I was able to work on my craft. You know what I'm saying? At that level, you're not really recruiting. You take what you get, and then you mold them how you want.
Yep.
So, that was a big deal for me. I took that seriously, that player development piece of it. And, working with, my boy, Coach Whittemore, Coach Conklin, those two, they were great people. And, our whole thing was always the team. So, obviously we had a bunch of studs, but we had several guys. We had 4 or 5 guys who were averaging double figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously Marquise and Lamar, those guys are at Western Michigan playing together, which is cool to see.
Yep.
Marquise Mayfield, he won the national championship at Fair State.
Fairs, yeah.
Christian Rodriguez is the all-time assist leader at Cornerstone right now.
Yeah, crazy.
Delaney Blaylock went D2, probably should have went D1.
Yeah, he had a great career.
And then goes D2 and decides to have a great career. And now he's still playing professional ball.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of guys that came through there that were passionate about basketball. So to be honest, it made our jobs easy. It made our jobs so easy. But I always knew I wanted to get back to the Division I level. I started the GA 2007-2010 at Western Michigan University. And I, at that point, I kind of knew, like, all right, I want to be a head coach. I got to figure this thing out. Graduate, start coaching high school, which was fine. I wouldn't, getting back to the Division I level, people don't know it's a lot harder than you think. It's hard to be a Division I basketball coach. That's the first thing that people need to understand that want to go this route. It's extremely hard. Once you get your chance, though, you roll with it. But going to that high school level, and I coached AU. I coached with Camp Darrell, coached with the Grand Rapids Storm. Got to coach guys like Devin Booker at the Grand Rapids Storm, and you know what I mean? Like his form was always so pretty.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'll tell you what, man. Like his form as a 15-year-old, like his form was so pretty. You just like watching him because it was just like, oh my goodness, like that kid, oh my God, like he's got it. Sure enough, he got it. He definitely got it. He definitely got it.
Yeah.
But coaching in those grassroots, you know what I'm saying? Where you coach AAU and you wake up and you're just coaching the game. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no real strategy to it. You going out, you drawing things up on your own, you seeing what works, you figuring it out. Yeah. That to me kind of is what helped me and shaped me into, being the best coach that I can be. Obviously the other stuff you continue to work at, and then you go to Godwin, you have a lot of success, you won a state championship. The year I actually won a state championship, what most people don't know is I was also coaching at Grand Rapids Community College.
Oh, wow.
So I was assistant coach at GRCC.
Grinding.
And coaching at Godwin Heights.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, I'll tell you what. So you got to drive the van. We're driving to the other side of the state in the snow.
Yeah.
that's when I knew, like I always knew, but when I was able to handle, juggle that, shuffle that, and have the success on both ends, there wasn't anything that, as far as basketball and coaching, that I couldn't do. So from that aspect, it was fun. It's basketball, coaching basketball, pouring into young men's lives. That's always been a passion. That's so. My guys, now. Sometimes they think I'm crazy because I always got a coffee cup, or I'm coming in there with a Mountain Dew, and I just got so much energy. They're just like, Coach, man, why you all look? I can't complain about this life. I walk into a gym every day. Right. I get to see these kids. I get to talk to them, coach them up. Like I can't wake up and complain about anything I do because I love what I do. Right. So right. I can't see too many coaches that can get up and complain about their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you go coach there. I've been going to the Final Four every year, probably since 2010. 1 year, trying to get back to the Tyler's level. You try to figure out, what can you do? How do you get back to D1 level? Other than obviously know people. One of the things that, a lot of people that you talk to in this business are going to say, work camps. Well, I wasn't one that wanted to work a ton of camps. You know what I'm saying? So I specifically wanted to work like, one camp and then keep working that one camp for several years, kind of building a relationship with that one staff. So at that time, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I knew, all right, look, I want to work a Kentucky camp. I want to work a John Calipari camp. How do you go about that? One Final Four when I was in Texas, one of the Final Four in Texas, I meet Joe Justice. We exchange contact information. And that's how it happens. He gives me Will Barton's number, who's the ops guy at Kentucky. I email him. Next thing you know, he's emailing me back. I'm working at Kentucky for a month, or not a month. Probably it was crazy. Like I was there for at least 3 weeks, just doing several camps back to back to back to back. Wow. Which and it was good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To see those other coaches, high level coaches, just in their element, you see their players and how they operate. I mean, if you want to be at that type of level, you got to be able to watch people at that level. So I intentionally, went into something like that so I can see how people operate, Right. How do they operate? How they get to this point? Like all that stuff matters. You got to be willing to learn, watch, and observe. So I started working those camps. And then in between one of those camps, I worked those camps for 3 years. And then 1 year I did John Thompson, JT3's camp over at Georgetown, which was, and that camp I'll always remember that camp because Big John was there. So this was Big John was
R.I.P.
Man, hey, exactly. Hey, legend. Yeah. So you got to think, somebody who's a young coach, he's an icon. Like, how many times have you guys seen that picture of him hugging AI?
Yeah.
All over the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a lasting legacy. So to be able to see him there, exactly. To see him there, I was kind of in awe. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you look up to those type of guys. And and honestly, I probably only had about a minute conversation with him. And I mean, that was it. Cause I wasn't going to bother the man. Like, he looked like, he an OG, he's just chilling. He don't want nobody messing with him. Right. So literally I walk up to him and I'm just like, look, man, hey, my name's Emmanuel Tommy. I just want to introduce myself to you. Thanks for everything you've done to this game. Pointed to his national championship banner. Like, hey, that was big time, coach. Really, really appreciate what you've done. And as I'm coming up to him, this is before I said he's kind of mean mugging me though. Like, what's this little dude? What you want to come? Boy, if you don't get to work, loosens up by the end of this 30 seconds. And thank you, says, thank you, appreciate it. Now get to that, make sure I'm getting you guys to look.
he said
you know what I'm saying?
To get back to work.
And to me, that was the coolest. That was one of the coolest experiences as far as basketball that I've ever had, just to be able to meet him and then I'm just like, I got to win the championship now. This dude over here watching like, shoot, we better coach him up. And sure enough, it went down. But that's neither here nor there. But the fact that I was able to meet him and then obviously RIP to him and he passes, a few years later, like that was, for me, that was a surreal moment as far as in my coaching career. And that was before I even had gotten back to the D1 level. So from there, I actually took a job. So I was coaching at Godwin. Took a job at Center College.
So what was it like? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What was it like leaving Godwin, especially, you know, having so much success there and being there for so long? What was that like for you?
It was hard because it's my alma mater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're working with people that you like really, really, really care for. You know, like I was in Tyler's wedding. You know, like you know what I mean? Like you're working with people you really care about. You're working with kids you really care about. So it was hard, but at the same time, I knew if I wanted to be a Division I, basketball coach, like I had to take this opportunity, and it was a Division III opportunity. But I mean, the kicker, my guy Will Barton, who's at Kentucky, he helped me get the job because he knew Greg Mason, and the job only paid me $7,500.
Man, a year?
Hey,
$7,500.
And talk to the people how you got to grind if you want to be a coach.
Look, man, and
working for peanuts.
And people don't understand that. I hopped up and was like, had some faith in myself, a bet on myself, and understood. All right, I've got to make this happen. And I took that chance, and we had a lot of success that year. Won a championship, a lot of success, and trust me, this story gets a little crazier now. So after that year, I meet Amaro Morgan down at the Final Four. Amaro's at South Alabama. All right. So I talk to him and I start talking to him, and he tells me they've got a position open. And essentially this position is an unpaid position.
Oh.
Look. Shake your head now. You shake your head. Yeah. But I talked to Richie Riley on the phone, and my man Richie, man, he got me going, and he's like, "Well, how old are you?" I'm like, 33. Oh, well, you got to make this move now. You got to do it. And he got my juices going, and I'm like, all right, man, I trust this man. So I hopped up, didn't think twice about it. I want to say he told me he told me on Father's Day. He texted me on Father's Day. I remember that. He said, my present to you, you do what you got to do, get in, do all this. You can come down here and work at South Alabama. So that's mid-June. I was down there early July. So that's a couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, look, and you do what you got to do. And you do what you got to do. You bet on yourself, and then you have some success doing that. And he took care of me, got me my job, which was actually a full-time paying job at McNese. Was an assistant director of basketball operations. And then from there, you work for good guys like, Coach Schroyer, Coach Aiken. All those guys were good to me, man. And they made my life easier, even though, you're grinding and all that stuff, by allowing me to essentially be myself, work how I needed to work, do what I got to do to make myself grow. And, from there, I go to McNese to get the ops job. And then from there, now I get the assistant coaching position at, Alabama A&M. So that's a 3-year span, the trajectory is pretty decent, but you a lot of stuff to go through to get to that point.
So you said,
go ahead, bro.
I was about to say, you said something though that I don't know if you would, want to just unpack that a little bit more for the people. You said, betting on yourself. Is when I hear that, you have to have a certain type of mentality that is like, all right, I mean, it's me against the world. Like people, I got to believe in myself, And so just unpack that mentality that you have, like as a coach, but then also as a player too, and like how you get that.
I think it's all about that chip on your shoulder. For me, my route wasn't going to be the same because I didn't play. I played high school basketball, but I didn't play college basketball. So my route wasn't going to be the same as a lot of these other coaches, So I knew my grind had to be different. My mentality had to be different. My work ethic had to be different. My focus, it's got to be, you got to have laser focus. When you're trying to do something, you got to have laser focus. More importantly, though, you got to make sure you're setting goals and you hold yourself accountable to those goals, and when you're doing that, good things happen. But one of the things people will say about me is I'm ultra positive. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, I'm positive. I'm always positive. Like, it doesn't matter if something bad happens. If I was to tell you, every time I've reached out to a coach before I got to this D1 level, let me talk to you. Can I work for you? There's a lot of times you're not going to get responses, and it's easy to just quit, or it's easy to just be like, all right, screw it. But that's not the case. If being an African American male, I mean, as you guys know, like, we're already a little behind, and that's just reality. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. But your mentality can't be, all right, because I'm an African American, I can't work. Your mentality's got to be, because I'm this, I need to work even harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the harder you work, I'm a firm believer. If you work hard, I mean, somebody's gonna take notice. And always work. And this is the biggest thing for me, and I think this is why I've had such success. Always work like somebody's watching you.
Yeah.
So somebody, that's how I've always approached everything. Somebody's like, I try to be professional in everything I do, because I assume somebody's watching me, somebody who might want to give me a job one day or help me out in some other way. It doesn't matter what it is, but somebody is always watching you. So you need to make sure, you're professional in everything you do. That chip, keep for players, keep that chip on your shoulder. A lot of those Grand Rapids players, I know you guys, and at the end of the day, some of them are probably thinking, well, coach ain't recruit. Well, the one thing that kids should never, ever assume is a coach don't know what they're doing. A coach ain't watching, or a coach don't see their stats, or a coach don't see their social media. So just because I may or may not be speaking to some of you as much as you would like, because I'm ultra busy, it's ultra crazy right now, don't mean I'm not following your success or your progress. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Man, that's good stuff. A lot of wisdom there, bro. I appreciate that. So let's continue to talk about, where you're at now, down there in Alabama. So you talked about how you got there. So let's talk about, like, how you're there now, and your players and the type of coach that you are. So, like, we see coaches that are the crazy one, right? Or we see coaches that are the ones that bring you to the side, the coaches that are, make you feel good about yourself, encourage you. What type of coach are you to these guys?
A little bit of everything. I'm a little bit of everything, and a lot of them are going to tell you I talk a lot of smack to them too.
Okay.
So you get a little bit of everything, but you got to be able to bring them to the side. Yeah, you got to be able to show them you care about them. You got to be able to show them you love them, because at the end of the day, I call this generation of kids, I call them trust kids. Once they know that you trust them, or they trust you, they will run through a wall for you. And that's just the reality. Once they know that you really actually do care about them, not just on the court, because the court is the court, but there's that mental space, there's that headspace that they all got. And, there's a lot of things that are going on in their lives, and especially at the college level. You got girlfriend, you got parents, there's a lot of stuff that goes on outside of basketball that can affect a kid's basketball play on the court. So you got to be able to manage both. So I'll say there was a time in my day when I was coaching early, when I was a crazy yeller, crazy yeller.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be that anymore. I'll raise my voice when I need to raise my voice. But my whole thing is, understanding each individual kid, because each individual kid isn't the same.
Right.
You got to be able to understand which buttons this kid is being pushed by, which buttons this kid's being pushed by, what you can or cannot say to this kid. You got to be able to operate in the good ones that do it. You got to be able to operate in many different realms, because
for sure,
that a lot of these kids, and I've dealt with every type of kid.
Yeah. That's so key, bro. That is so key. Learning every kid and how they operate. I feel like every coach should at least take psychology, or have some type of psychology degree, to know how like, the mind operates and know how people operate. So
yeah, I feel like you see that a lot in the NBA. You know, coaches they realize like, all right, I can't go at Dennis Rodman how I'm going at Steve Kerr or stuff like that. But sometimes in college, like you say, you got it. But sometimes there's just like a system, and then like coaches sometimes they don't know how to build that trust and how to talk to different types of players, and then they end up losing it. So that's key.
That's key. That's key. And the thing about me, I get along with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So treat people how you want to be treated, man. You don't know what anybody's going through. So I try to be mindful of that, and I just try to respect these kids, because I want them to respect me. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Yeah. And to me, that's the biggest thing.
Sure.
Huntsville, you guys talked about down here. Huntsville, beautiful city, growing city. They're saying it's probably going to be the biggest city in Alabama. Couple years, it's growing. Everywhere I look, something new's going up. Wow. It's beautiful. I go down and I'm riding down the parkway to work, and I see mountains. So I can't complain. We're getting a $70 million basketball facility that's going up next year.
Oh, that's what's up.
So as far as people think HBCU, and the thing, one of the myth that you talk about later or whatever, but is you got to go high major in order to be a pro or to have success. No, you don't have to. If you're special, you're special. Yeah. It don't matter where you're at. If you go out and you're at a HBCU, a mid major, low major, high major, it don't matter. If you're going out and you're performing, somebody's gonna find you. Yeah. Somebody's gonna see you. I think a lot of parents get caught up with people who tell them their kid is XYZ. Their kid is a pro. Your kid is this, your kid is that, and they get caught up in that so much they're tunnel vision. They don't see the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture, and when you get to this level, if you're good enough and you're special, look, man. We're at Alabama A&M, and I've played 7 or 8 games already, and every one of my games I'm on ESPN, and I'm getting text messages from people screenshotting. I saw you on TV. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to be seen. You're going to be seen. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Right. Go where you're wanted. That's the biggest thing I say. Go where you're wanted. Go where the coaches, have a plan for you. And then you obviously got a transfer portal, but we can get into all that
stuff. Sure. Yeah, Josh and I, we talk all the time about how we wish we would have considered a HBCU back in the day. Because, man, I feel like every day I see like a video on social media of something going on at HBCU, and it looks extremely hype. So what's that energy like? Did you go to a homecoming game this year? What's it like down there?
I was actually in Dallas recruiting for homecoming, but I did go to the football game, and it's unreal. Like it's because I had never been to an HBCU before I got here either. So everybody told me about it, and then you get to it, and then you experience it. It's just you can't explain it till you actually see it. The vibe, the vibe, the energy. It's just real, and the kids, they love to be here. Yeah. There's parties, they're not parties, but get-togethers out on our quad. A couple times a week where they're out there, line stepping, all kinds of stuff, man. I'm telling you, the atmosphere is definitely college atmosphere. You enjoy it. Yeah. And the kids, they're good kids. You know what I'm saying? You're not really dealing with kids where you think may or may not HBCU get bad. No, you're not dealing with any of that stuff, man. Yeah. We're dealing with good kids, especially here. I know here, Alabama A&M, we're dealing with some really, really good kids, both student athletes and regular students. Very, very respectful. Yeah. And, my time here has been, in the 5 months that I've been here, I love it. I love it. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Wouldn't trade this experience. And, a lot of people before I took the job, oh, yeah, HBCU, hard to move up out that level. And again, that's where the chip on my shoulder, like them telling me that I shouldn't be doing something is you telling me, all right, I'm going to show you how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that, that I have. So,
yeah. Absolutely.
That's
dope. You've been defying the odds from the very beginning. So why can't you do it again?
Man,
right.
So, living life and enjoying.
Yeah. No doubt about it. So you mentioned you're in Dallas recruiting. So let's kind of slide into that recruiting topic. So in your experience, your years of experience coaching and evaluating players, like especially now, like what are you looking for most out of players as you're trying to recruit?
So I'm looking and for me, what position they are, what can they do outside of that position? So point guard, obviously most of your point guards are handling the ball. They can shoot, they can pass. Can he rebound? I'm looking for guys who can do things outside of their position. Because I want a rebounding guard. I want a rebounding point guard. I love guards who can rebound. You know why? Because then they can get my boards off the defensive end, and then we can just push that thing and play.
And go. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't got to worry about the outlet. I don't got to worry about the banana cut. You know what I'm saying? So I want guards. When I'm looking at guards, I'm looking at, are they tough? Got to be tough because, toughness is something, I guess you can kind of teach it, but if you come in with it, it's a lot easier. A tough kid is a tough kid. A tough kid is a tough kid.
Yeah.
Skill level, what kind of skill they got. As far as point guards, if I'm going to, a 4 or 5, can they dribble? And the reason for that, I want big guys who can bust out dribble. Because again, my break is starting faster. You know what I'm saying? Benchero, my break is starting faster. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of things I'm looking for outside of their skill set. What can they do outside of their skill set? And then as of late, what I'm saying, I want guards who have a never settle mentality. Like I want guards who live in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can get guards who, they play with the ball out there and they got a lot, less is more for me. Less is more for me. Can you get from point A to point B in one dribble? And with that being said, my next thing is power. What kind of power do they have? Can they get from one end to the other end in 3 dribbles? Can they do it in 4 dribbles? Power to me is the biggest thing. That's been like my new fascination, I would say, the last couple of years. Just how powerful a guy is. You know what I'm saying? You think guys like Zion, those type of guys, you know what I mean? Like those guys have so much power, you know what I'm saying, in what they do. And I feel like a lot of those NBA guys, they don't look like they're moving as fast, but they're covering so much ground. You know what I'm saying? They're covering so much ground because of the power that they got. You look at LeBron. I mean, I want to say I probably saw maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I saw LeBron go end to end in 3 dribbles. And then 3 dribbles, what? Are you kidding?
That's funny.
That's the type of stuff that I'm looking for, because I know if you got that, especially power, toughness, you got a chance, because we can teach you. We can teach you some things. We can work on the gym, we can work on the gym, but you also want gym rats, if we're talking now, I'm talking more, I guess I'm saying more high school right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm speaking more high school right now.
Right. Right.
Because with the transfer portal, that's kind of, the reality. The reality for the high school kids is, there's a lot of college basketball coaches who like older or experienced. You know what I'm saying? And how can you not? It's going to be hard for college basketball coaches to not take a guy who's already been at the college level and played, as opposed to a high school kid who's coming out of high school who hasn't played at this level.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things as parents and high school kids, you need to understand that, you know, because that's important to understand, because you may end up getting recruited a little later than you might like, if that makes sense. It might not be signing right away, as opposed to, you know, you might end up signing, you know, April, May, June, after, you know, some coaches figure out, you know, maybe I didn't get this transfer or whatever that case may be. Like, I don't have an issue with the transfer rule. Like, I don't mind it. And in my mind, for me as a small school or any low major, like, I think that just means you should go out your way to recruit a couple kids who you might not, or you shouldn't get.
Yeah.
Because the reality is they may go higher and it might not work out. I mean, there's over 1,000 transfers.
Yeah.
So it might not work out. So, you know, you're building that rapport, you're building that relationship. And on the back end, you may end up getting that kid.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't be, I mean, you got to be able to adapt in this situation. There's coaches that may be like, I don't like this rule. And there's coaches who love it because they know how they're going to use it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care either way. Like, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm going to adapt and I'm going to figure out what I need to do to make sure that I'm good and my teams are good and our teams are good.
Yep.
Right. Like, what would you say high school kids can do to get ready for college, so that what you just were talking about, you know, doesn't happen to them, in terms of a coach overlooking them for a transfer or something? What can high school kids do to, like, be ready day one?
Make sure your body's right. You know, make sure you got a college ready body, you know, because a lot of times that transition, that's huge. I mean, when you go in and you see a freshman, or as opposed to somebody who's been there for a couple of years, you know, at this level, and that's more so at this level where you're going to see the big differences. At the high majors, you know, those guys that are recruiting high majors and high major kids are coming in, a lot of those kids are going to have some college ready bodies. But the reality is there ain't too many kids just going high major like that. There's 350 whatever Division I teams, and a lot of them are probably considered mid to low. You know, so having a college ready body, I think is one of the most important things you can do. And then, you know, obviously try to have a schedule, because like our schedule, you know, before the season started, I mean, we were on the track at 6:30 some days, running a mile. Then, you know, we're lifting weights. We're with our strength coach, conditioning, and then, you know, we're on the court. So having a schedule, you know, being able to work through a schedule, you know what I'm saying, and really understand that it's going to be a grind. You know, like, if you can get through your own schedule and like stick to it though, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, like, have a regimen that you stick to. Yeah, it's going to help you. It really will. College ready body. And then, you know, people don't want to talk about this stuff, but you got to develop some study habits. Because that's the reality of it. Like, because at the end of the day, basketball is basketball, but you've still got to be able to pass classes. You still got to be able to take it, and it's really tough, because I'm a product of this. I know when I was in high school, I probably didn't study as much, and then I got to college, and then I realized real quick, like, well, XYZ ain't gonna really help me right now, so I got to figure this out. So I learned how to study. Now, the way I studied, I was able to cram. So I could study the night before, be up all night for a test, study for that test, and pass that test with flying colors. Not everybody's capable of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's capable of doing that. So developing, like, being able to have a study habit. And like, really just don't think, all right, I'm going to college because of basketball. Yes, you are going to college because of basketball, but there is a huge piece in there where you do have to go to class and you do have to pass. So you've got to be able to do that so you're ready, because that part mentally screws up some freshmen too.
Yeah.
The overwhelming of the grades part and not being able to handle that, and you're overwhelmed from that, and it's, affecting your performance on the court.
No doubt.
So you've got to be able to do all of those things. And again, even more important, just if college basketball is what you want to do, watch as many college basketball games as you can. Don't just watch the high majors.
Mm-hmm.
Watch every single game you can. And while you're watching them, you try to figure out what's going on. This guy, screen, roll, he's tagging, what do they do? How is this guy guarding the ball screen? Is he icing it? Is he hedging it? You try to figure out, I seen that play, cross screen, down screen, America's play.
Yeah.
And the more you start to watch it, you start to see all the stuff. So you're coming in with a mind of that transition of learning you've already seen. So that learning curve isn't as big, depending on where you went in high school, so you try to watch it, but don't watch it just to be a fan. Don't watch it just because you think my man Ben Charles is a beast. I mean, I think he's a beast too, but watch it so you can learn some stuff,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy. That's some real good advice, because a lot of us, I was guilty growing up of who was in college back in the day. I don't know, like Greg Oden or Derrick Rose, or just watching them because they were nice, but I wasn't watching them to learn the game. So I think that's super important. And another thing too, it's funny, the first two you said was get your body ready and come up with a schedule. Me and Josh actually made a video for YouTube yesterday, basically said the same exact thing. Things that you should do right now to prepare for your freshman year. And one of them we said was get your body ready, eat right, conditioning, because shoot, it's on another level, man. Like
it is.
It's on another level when you get there. And then the schedule thing too.
And that's us.
Yeah. The schedule thing too
even
is
us,
super important. Go
we're
ahead.
low major, but even our schedule is still hectic, trying to fit everything in. And the higher you go, the more it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Because and the reason for that is because they have more resources.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to make sure you're prepared, and then you got to go in mentally, man. Mentally, you got to go in mentally understanding.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be hard. This isn't easy. See, everybody wants it. Everybody sees it, and the reality. Here's the reality of people watching college basketball, or there's only 30 nights of like fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like fun. I'm on TV. Like everybody watching me. Check me out. Let's do this. But the
30
other
nights of fun.
all kinds, the practices, the workouts. For coaches, the recruitment, the phone calls. You really have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it. That's what's gonna make you successful. If you really love it, you don't do it just because you're good at it or you think it's fun, or do it because you love it. And when you love it, everything else is easy. Everything else is easy.
When you break it down with numbers, it's like, man, 30 nights.
Man.
30 nights.
There's only 30 nights of games, man. Let's turn up. Let's turn up. Let's get it. Let's do this. Yeah. And then the rest, don't nobody see. Don't nobody see. Don't nobody see that I stayed up a whole night to finish the scout.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what nobody sees. So you gotta love it. Everything behind it.
Man, yes, that's the realest statement I heard in 2020.
Real, bro.
I'm not even exaggerating.
Hey, genuine. That's me, man. Keep it real, be genuine, and that's it. Ain't no point in sugarcoating nothing, and that's why I've had success in the recruiting trail and dealing with families, and I've heard it from several, just a genuine dude. And and I pride myself in that, and I'll continue to do that for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Last thing on recruiting, I just want to know, it's a fun question for me. What's the quickest way for somebody to get just crossed off your list?
For me, if I was to see you on the bench, not celebrating something that everybody else was celebrating, that to me would be for sure. That you know what I'm saying? Because man, it's such a team game. It's such a team game, and one negative energy could turn into a ripple effect. Now, does it always happen? No, but I'm a firm believer. Togetherness. I want all my guys. I want everybody. I want everybody together, man. So everybody, you win together, you lose together. Like that's it. You're in the locker room together after a loss. You're in the locker room together after a win. Same people. Yeah. And for me, if somebody looks unhappy about their teammate's success, that ain't it. For me, that ain't it. For some people, it might be, but for me,
it's a pass for you.
Yeah, red flag for sure.
Yeah,
red flag for sure. That's something Coach Wesley always talked about.
He did.
Was the bench energy.
He did.
And I think sometimes he had like a camera on our bench.
He did. I know he did.
So we had to be on our P's and Q's, bro. Like not just in the game, on the bench, giving that energy.
Talked about it all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah. Is that what practices are like for you? Does you and your like the coaching staff? Do you guys harp on that like energy and bringing that?
We do, and trying to get our guys to go and pick guys up when they're on the floor. Yeah. We're more, let's get it done too. Yeah. Get it done too. I try to make sure I bring the energy. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
And then I think also, you could also recruit that too. You can definitely recruit some of that stuff.
For sure.
Where you see guys who are naturally that. But at the end of the day, not everybody is the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are quiet leaders.
Yeah.
There's definitely quiet leaders. And
sure.
And that's coaching. Just knowing who's what and what's what.
Yeah. For sure.
So understanding communication, man. Verbal communication. Now, I was a public relations major.
Yeah.
Is what I was. So communications, that's always been my thing.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I feel like that was me. I had to really, really learn when I got to the college level about, bringing the energy, but doing it within myself. Because, my brother is a borderline psycho when it comes to basketball. So I thought I had to be him to be successful, but it took me probably about a year to really find, my lane and how I brought energy and how I led, especially as a point guard. So for the viewers out there, me and my brother are like totally different players and totally different people. So shout out to people.
Both good dudes though.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's a good point though. Not shout out, not talking about that energy. When I go back and I think about some of the players that we both know that might have flamed out or stopped playing, that energy just they wasn't able to find it. I just wasn't able to find it because it don't have to be like going crazy or rah rah or whatever, but you got to be able to bring something. And that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a real good point.
No doubt. Man, I'm tapped out, bro. I'm tapped out. Man.
Like I'm answering it as we're going, and everything's being talked about as we speak.
Bro.
For real.
You flowing, bro. You flowing. You flowing for real. Really, man. I guess my last question. You mentioned obviously Godwin, and a couple other places you've been. What were some of the characteristics of these successful teams that you've coached, coaches and players?
Toughness, man. It was, if we were ever down in a game, you never felt like you were going to lose the game, and that's because mentally they were tough. You know what I'm saying? And when I talk about toughness, yeah, you're talking about toughness, hitting some people too and being physical and having some physicality. But I'm also talking mental toughness. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, you got to be able to go through adversity. Because in games, realistically, there's a lot of highs and lows. Teams go on runs. You go on run. Hey, call timeout. There's a lot of highs and lows. And if mentally you break, you're gonna, you might lose the game. And I'm not going to say you lose the game every time, because there may be times where, you somebody does break, but you can get it together. You can get it together. But I would say mental toughness. That's the biggest thing that I would take from all the successful teams, that I've been a part of. Just been mentally tough to the point where going into the game, we thought we were going to win the game, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot to get to that point. Those days I got when I'm telling you, I mean, we won a lot of games, but it was hard because it got to a point where it felt like everybody was against us. The refs were calling,
Man, yeah.
Like when you get the bullseye on your back.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Man. It was crazy, but it was fun. But those guys, you know what I'm saying? They were so tough mentally. Yeah. And they were so connected and so together,
right?
That it never mattered. I mean, you got to think we had some of the biggest crowds. We were playing Catholic Central in front of Izzo and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like we had some legit games now.
Right.
Sellouts, like standing room only.
Sure.
And I'm sitting here trying to like those guys. They never really wavered. Like they rise to the occasion all the time. They always rose. They loved it. They love all eyes on them. You know what I mean? Like, and as crazy as it is, you see all those games that we were part of. Like, I don't even remember the fans.
Yeah.
Like I'm so locked into, that 94-foot square that you don't even really hear the fans like you think. Like you should. It's crazy. And obviously you guys played, college, like when you're locked in, when you're dialed in, like you don't even hear the fans. But now, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm at an HBCU now, and they say the fans here is crazy. So next time I'm on, I'll let you guys know if I hear anybody.
Right. I got you. I want to touch on that mental toughness piece before we wrap up. Obviously, we knew the players at Godwin, and they probably had some of that naturally. But was there anything in the program that you implemented to help push them and grow that mental toughness?
I think it was just our practices. Our practices were always a war. Mm-hmm. It was always competition. It was always in your face. Mm-hmm. It was always competitive. So, I guess at times they were losing within practice, but we weren't losing real games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the practices were so intense, so physical, dive on the floor, get after each other. It's crazy as it sounds, like I can't even remember any like a fight or anything ever happening.
Yeah.
So, those kids understood what it meant to compete against each other and still love one another, because at the end of the day, we all wear the same jersey. We all wear the same jersey. Yeah. So I think our practices, our practices were really, really big, and we were always in your face. You know what I'm saying? We were always picking up, run and jump. 2-2-1. Trap from behind, and then we had the full court press, run and jump, and we had a diamond 1-2-1-1. So we were always so aggressive. We didn't really know how to turn those guys down. You know what I'm saying? That's how much they went. And I guess I don't mind that. I guess if I don't know how to turn you down because you don't, not go hard, I'm okay with that. At least I know you're gonna go hard. So
no doubt.
What's up,
man? You got anything else, Jay?
Nah, man. Cover everything, bro.
Everything, bro. Everything. Well, y'all just went through an entire class.
For real.
Coach Tommy over here, man. But we appreciate you, man. We know you're super busy in season and probably doing some recruiting on top of that and making sure these cats go into class, all that. We know how the game goes. So
making sure they're getting back into their dorm room because they locked themselves out.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
That's the life we live, baby. It's the life we live.
Life of a coach, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
As two former Hoopers, man, we appreciate you and what you do. Assistant coaches, man, really are what makes the program go. Because you guys are doing everything. Yeah, you guys are doing everything behind the scenes from scout to making sure our minds are right to talking to us about life, whatever we need. Y'all fill that void. So we just want to let you know that we see you, bro. Keep grinding. We're gonna keep watching. We're gonna have to have a part 2 one of these days too.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. If anybody wants to hit me up, man, hit me up on my Twitter or Instagram. You can send me film. So feel free. I believe it or not, I actually do look at film that kids send me. You know what I'm saying? I really do. Do I always reach back out? I don't because I'm crazy busy. But I actually do look at film. And the easiest way to do that is probably through my social media because my emails are going buku with everything else that I got to do.
Crazy. Man. Yeah, so hit Coach Tommy up, man. Send that film because he's going to look at it. You heard it here on What Are We Missing? I think that's a wrap, man. Again, we appreciate you. We thank you all for watching another episode of What Are We Missing? Until next time. Actually, man, before we go, make sure you like this episode, like the video, subscribe to our page, all that, share it. Subscribe. Now we out. Until next time. Peace.